Friday, y'all. So, I'm not going to be before you long today, but what I wanted to ask you is what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for in life? What are your desires? I'm sorry, I got to hold my stand up so the wind doesn't blow it away. But what are your desires? What are the thoughts and the dreams and the hopes that keep you alive, that keep you awake at night? What are you working towards? And the thing that you're working towards, is it something that God has called you to do? Because if you are working towards the approval of man, if you are working towards more money, if you are working towards more status, if you are working towards anything other than glorifying God, then that thing is going to define you. And that thing is going to destroy you if it doesn't happen, or if it happens and it all fails eventually, because everything will pass, right? If our foundation is not in the things that God has called us to move on, we're going to find ourselves in sinking sand. None of it is stable. None of it is sure, especially man. Man only wants you, not men, but man, period. A job, your friends, family. They only want you as much as you are convenient. Like, let's just be real. We're humans. If somebody can benefit us, then they're looked at as beneficial. That's just what it is. But what I want to encourage you guys to do today is to rebuild your foundation, tear it down, and rebuild your foundation on Christ. Rebuild your foundation on the things that He wants you to do. You know, I was reading, I'm in Luke, and I'm only in the second chapter, but I was reading when the angel and the heavenly choir came before the shepherds in the fields and told them about Jesus being born. And now it just hit me. As a shepherd, your responsibility is tending to the sheep, is tending to your flock, protecting them, feeding them, and all the things. But the angel told them to go now to Bethlehem to visit this child. And they did not wait. They went, just like Abraham. Abraham did not wait 2 weeks before he took Isaac to the mountain, right? He went the very next morning. So, why do we wait so long? I ask myself that too, because God tells us to do stuff, and then we have to rationalize it. God tells us to do stuff, and then we have to think about it, and we have to make it make sense for us, or we have to make sure that it fits into our schedule. Don't you know God has the power to remove that schedule? God has the power to destroy a schedule. God has the power to build a schedule. And what He's showing me is that my life, my schedule, my plans should not be built on anything else but except around God. God is the foundation. of the plan. He is the foundation of the schedule. He has to come first in our realities. He has to come first in our lives. He has to come first in our day. He has to come first in our second, in our hour. Because if he calls you to do something and we don't do it, I think I got, forgive me. Give me 1 second. Ooh, a little too much lip gloss. And we don't do it, and we could keep putting him off, eventually he's going to put us in a position in which we won't have nothing else to do but what he's called us to do. And then eventually we could be like Jonah. And then after we do it, we never hear. They never hear from us again, right? We never hear another thing that God asked him to do. And we don't want to be that way with God. And we don't want our lives to have to fall apart in order to serve God the way in which he's called us to serve him. So I suggest that we figure out a way to make God the foundation of our day. And then everything else is built up around him. And there is a way to do it. It's just we have to want to do it. Because if we want to do it, we'll find a way. If we don't want to do it, we'll find a way not to do it. So I don't know. I'm a little rambly today. I didn't really have any, I had something, but I want to wait and hold off on that. But this was just on my heart, was that we have to make God the foundation. When he tells us to go, we have to go. When he tells us to move, we have to move. Because there's a blessing in the obedience. There's security in obedience. If we move even when it doesn't make sense, that means we are walking in faith. Faith is not just a feeling. Faith is a physical action. It's a verb. Faith is a verb. That's why we walk in faith, right? We move regardless of the situation. We move regardless of what it looks like. We move regardless of what it feels like. We move because we know the person who told us to move, and that's our God. And therefore, we move in accordance to his will and not our will, because it's his will be done and not our will be done. But as we move, our will start to align with his will, and then our wills will be done, right? And all the things will be added unto us. But we can't get to all the things added unto us because we refuse to do the first thing, and that's to take the step in which he called us to do. To start the channel, which he called us to start, right? To start the business that he called us to start, to love the difficult supervisor that he called us to love, to encourage the coworkers that he's called us to encourage. That even in the midst of our day, of our 9 to 5, 8 to 4:30, 7 to 3, whatever it is, we should still be pursuing and seeking God to know what is next in our lives and what is next that he desires. Because yes, if a man doesn't work, he will not eat. So work, you know. But in the midst of that, he's building you to do more for the kingdom, or he's calling you to set aside time to do more for the kingdom, even if the work situation is hectic, right? He is calling you to learn something in that moment because it's going to be beneficial to his kingdom and because it requires us dependence on him. Anytime difficulties happen, anytime, you know, something happens which we don't think that we would be able to endure, that is an opportunity for us to rely on God. So I think maybe Monday I read some of Isaiah 56, but I just wanted to read this one verse before I leave. Isaiah 55. And it's Isaiah 55, verse 56. And it says, "Seek the Lord while he may be found, call upon him while he is near." Let's not wait to seek the Lord, because one day it may be too late. One day it may be too late to obey. One day your time may be up. If you are plain, right, in lukewarmity, which we all tend to do from time to time, we got to straighten up, because one day you might just be in that half cold, half hot state, and your time is up. And what does he say he does with the lukewarm? He spits it out. We don't want to be spit out. We don't want to be left out of the plan. We don't want to be broke, busted, and disgusted. We don't want to be unfruitful. We don't want to be ugly. We don't want to be lazy. We don't want to be any of that, because we are made in God's image. That's why when we are in those states, it doesn't feel good. And we feel depressed and missing something, because we are not operating in the state of being in which God has called us to operate. He's called us to operate in productivity. He's called us to operate in creativity. He's called us to operate in superiority. He's called us to be occupying a state of dominion here on this earth. And that's why when we are not, or when we were, but our foundation was weak because it wasn't founded on God, it was founded on man's approval. That's why we don't feel as fruitful and as happy and as joyful and as at peace as we should be. I don't know if that just made sense. But yeah, it's time for us to seek God. It's time for us to find God while he may be found. It's time for us to move when God tells us to move. It's time to us to plan when God tells us to plan. When God tells you to save, save. When God tells you to speak to somebody, go speak to them. If God tells you to humble yourself, because he will exalt you eventually. But he will bless you. If we humble ourselves, he will bless you. And if he tells you to humble yourself before man, don't worry, he will exalt you eventually. So today, go. When God says go, go. And not your will, but let his will be priority. And if we go, then as we keep going, our wills will align to his. And then we will have a stupendous ending. So, yeah, happy Friday. Have a wonderful weekend. See you on Monday. Bye.